Part 3 of the Soccer Cookbook is focused on parents, right? The thing that I want to instill on soccer, if you're a soccer mom or a soccer dad, doesn't matter how old your kid is, it's what you do that your kids will start to model. So you could tell your kids to do push-ups or eat healthy or use the kick trainer or use the RMT rope or spend more time juggling. But the real trick is, if you start to lead by example, they're gonna start to, their game will start to grow tremendously, because now it's the monkey see, monkey do effect, right? They're gonna see you do it, and you can't be that bad, right? So they're gonna start to copy you, right? Kids are geniuses, right? They can mimic and copy so the one thing that I really wish either both my parents did when I was playing for years and we were traveling all over, right? All over the world playing soccer, is I wish they spent a little time developing their juggling abilities, because this would have allowed me to have a training partner that I could have warmed up with, or just got touches with in the backyard, picnics, barbecues, right, after school, before school, anytime, right, anytime, and they were both athletic, right, so it's not that they weren't capable, it's just that no one told them that this could have been a good idea. So, you know, if you can't juggle or if you have poor athleticism, get a balloon, get a pack of balloons and make it fun. Start to play that barrel game that we talked about in part 1, and if you can develop your juggling abilities to a point where you could keep it up 1 and 2 touches with your son or daughter, you are going to spark so much joy between the two of you that you won't even believe it. You won't even believe it. What else is super important for parents to know? This comes to mind. Beginner. When players get new cleats, you really want to bend the cleat back to not hinder their toes' ability to create power and distribute their weight. So that's something that maybe not a lot of new soccer parents know. You got to really bend that cleat backwards so that it doesn't, right? So that the toes can move. The toes, right? That's the first part that they absorbs energy and starts to create power. So that's super important. So really bend that back when you're getting new cleats, almost to a point when you're fold the cleat completely back and bend it, so that it starts to create some softness and some mobility. What else? Habits. Good habits, right? Don't eat too late. And it's hard to say that because, right, like for years I would leave PDA and we'd hit up McDonald's, 2 Big Mac meal with a Coke, 2 apple pies and a McFlurry, and you know, it's convenient, it's right there, but I think you want to start to develop good habits, right, and make good choices, because good choices will spiral you up. So this guy I'm thinking about these days, his name is Brian Johnson, and he says the farther away you eat from bed, the lower your heart rate, right? Because when you eat stuff, your stomach's got to digest it, which elevates your heart rate. So he says if you can go 8 to 10 hours, and you know, for some people that's way too long and just doesn't sit right with them, but just be mindful that for great sleep, that'll lead to a great day. If you could start to taper back the time at which you eat, this is going to help your kids or yourself get better sleep, which is going to lead to more energy. So that's just something to keep in mind. For parents, what do you got to know? What do you got to know? What to feed them? Fruits, nuts, seeds, smoothies, right? Search Brian Johnson nutty pudding, and right, you could get a case of bananas. Some places give you a case discount, which means you could get 40 pounds of bananas for something close to 25 bucks. You want to start to teach your kids how to make their own breakfast smoothie, because now the whole issue of what do we eat before game, before practice gets completely eliminated. So you just have fruit stocked in the freezer, or you just buy a box of bananas at the bulk store and you freeze them when they're ripe, and then boom, teach your kids how to make smoothies. And what starts to happen is, right, this is the Einstein theory. Einstein, he wore the same suit jacket, and what this did is, instead of the loss of energy thinking about what am I going to wear, he was able to dedicate that energy to other things in his life. So same principle, start developing, or you got to teach your kids how to be self-sufficient and grow their lives, right? So even something as simple as a breakfast smoothie, you know, would have just tremendously had me feeling energized, good nutrients, which probably would have improved my play. And you know, if you can teach your kids to start to make their own breakfast smoothie, then you can take care of the household affairs and, you know, other things that need to be taken care of. So I think one thing I really did value, or maybe it was taught to me but I just didn't appreciate it, was how important teaching your kids how to just make their bed and clean their room. And that's a lesson I learned way too late in life. And this guy Jordan Peterson, he says the reason why this is super important is because it's actually a ritual in hope. Because if you can control the chaos of your room, no matter how big or small, then this is a reflection of what you can do when you get outside your home. So for parents, if you're not telling your kid, or if you're not leading by example, if you don't make your own bed, if you're not keeping your room tidy, then maybe there'd be no reason for your kids to either. So that's something that you might want to consider. And I just noticed that the relationship with myself, when I started doing it, even 1 minute making my bed, tidying it up, just deepened my relationship with myself. Another thing I'll say is that for whatever reason, I always felt, you know, as I think back to soccer and school during this, you know, from